to the kingdom. A toast to the king.
You elect will drink wine new with Yahweh Shai. You elect. As of right now, we say hopeful elect. You elect of Israel out there will drink wine new with our Lord Yahweh Shai in his Father's kingdom, which is going to be the kingdom of heaven here on planet earth once Yahweh Shai returns. When our Lord comes back, one of the first things he's going to do is have a toast with his men. He's going to have a toast with his men, those that stood stiffly for his name and his Father's name. Let's read this one more time. Matthew chapter 26, verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, which is made, as you know. And our Lord, he loves to drink, man. That's something that our Lord took pleasure on this planet earth. He's not going to do it anymore until he returns to do with you, showing just how much he loves his elect, man. He's not even going to drink until he does it again with you. I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So what a moment that's going to be, man. And you can only imagine the quality of wine that's going to be. Our Lord Yahweh Shai, he has access to different things that we don't even know about, man. Access to different grapes you don't know about. Has access to an entirely different quality that we don't know about. But he's going to reveal it to you. He's going to give it to you when he returns. Now, you have what's called a loyal toast. A loyal toast. I'm going to read this real quick. A loyal toast is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given. In this case, the sovereign monarch or head of state would be Yahweh Shai. He's our sovereign monarch. He controls everything, man. But guess what? He's also going to extend that power to you elect. He's going to share that power with you. A loyal toast is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given, or by expatriates of that country, whether or not the particular head state is present. In this case, the Lord will be present. So you're not going to have someone speaking for him giving a toast. He's going to host the toast. He's going to be there, man. We're living in a time we're going to meet Yahweh Shai. You're going to meet him face to face, which is proof also that we have to be changed. We can't meet the Lord like this. He's going to change you. He's going to crown you, and he's going to toast with you. It says it is usually a matter of protocol at military occasions and a display of patriotic sentiment at civilian events. The toast is usually initiated and recited by the host, which will be Yahweh Shai, before being the assembled gathering.
To the kingdom. Cheers.
Sometimes when Akim are among each other, we'll do little small toasts. Brothers may be like La Yashirala, holding up cups. But imagine the Lord himself hosting it, man. And we join in. And I was reading something else, and pretty much they said in order to have what they call a loyal toast, you will use wine. That's the beverage of choice. And once again, our Lord, He's coming back, and we're going to see Him with all that power, man. But He's going to extend that power to you. Now, reading on a monarch, it says a monarch is a head of state for life or until abdication, in this case for life. And therefore, the head of state of a monarch may exercise the highest authority and power in the state, or others may wield that power on behalf of the monarch. And that will be you joint heirs. You different men that are going to reign with the Lord, man. Usually a monarch either personally inherits the lawful right to exercise the state's sovereign rights, often referred to as the throne or the crown, or is selected by an established process from a family or cohort eligible to provide the nation's monarch. In this case, the Heavenly Father Yahweh Himself selected His Son Yahushua. And once again, when our Lord returns, He's going to wield that power to you elect as well. Once again, He's going to change you, He's going to crown you, and He's going to have a toast with you. A kingly toast.
To the kingdom! Cheers! A toast with the king! Raise your glasses, my friends. A toast with the king. A toast with the king. Raise your glasses, everyone. A toast to a prosperous future. To the king. To our glorious future. To the victors. Blow the spells. Raise your glasses. Cheers. Raise your chalices. To the golden age of our kingdom. A toast to the king.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And what I want to get into this morning, morning news and prophecy, and on what we're seeing happening, here in the West, especially in America, is a destabilization, okay, by the U.S. government. Okay. Now, the American government is infamous throughout the world for destabilizing, all right, these different governments, these societies causing civil unrest and uproars, okay, and Americans for the longest have been able to just watch the news and see, all right, the handiwork of the American government with these other nations in uproar and protests and doing coups and, hostile takeovers and, just the civil unrest that the American government is able to, achieve around the world. Because this devil, he rules in the environment of division, okay, distractions, confusion. That's the atmosphere where the devil thrives in because he's wicked. He's always doing something wicked, so he always needs people to be distracted, confused, and divided. All right, and what we're seeing is a major destabilization campaign on the American society, man, on American citizens. Okay, and this is a war tactic. Okay, the American government is at war with its citizens, man. Okay, and it's on the increase, and it begins with, fear tactics, psyops. Okay, and then also control of narratives and propaganda. Okay, you have these small hats who have brought TikTok, which we'll get a little bit into that as well. Okay, well, let's go into some scriptures, because this devil being exposed, okay, plays a lot into how he's moving in these last days. The way that this nigga is moving, you see, in real time, well, him being exposed, him being called out, him losing the narrative plays a major part in how the devil is moving. And the Lord is scripting this man from wisdom, you know. So when you go to Jeremiah 49:7, it says, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim al Shah of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman, is counsel perished from the prudent, is their wisdom vanished. You know? So you look at how this man is operating, he's operating as a fool. Okay? He's getting more, tacky with his execution of propaganda, and the psyops is becoming more tacky. Okay? There's a counter, there's always, someone breaking down what this devil is doing. And ultimately you have the prophets. You have the prophets that's letting, okay, it be known who this man is, Esau Edom, okay, that's ruling the earth, his origin story, you see, and what he's trying to do. You see, the prophets get to the source of this devil, man. And then you have, different levels of this devil being revealed. So while this is happening, he's scrambling, okay, trying to maintain the narrative, man. And he's looking foolish. The Lord got this man looking foolish trying to do that. It says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the dam, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him, man. The Lord's getting ready to visit Esau. Okay? The Lord's finna judge this man. The Lord has allowed this man free course. The scriptures say he shall, you know, um, go through the four quarters of the earth through deception, with deception, going into the prophecy of Revelation 20. So this man was allowed to go forth and deceive, all right, to conquer with the sword, with deception, okay, with lies. He was given the time, all right, that little season, and into where he was able to pull these things off. Okay, he was able to tap into the left hand side. All right, he was able to be innovative and come up with technology and weaponry and war, and you see all these different things that he was allowed to do. Okay, but it was always meant for him to be visited at the end, for him to be judged at the end of all this, man. The Lord's going to visit this man with judgment. Okay, the time that I will visit thee. You see, it said, if grape gatherers if come to thee, will they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. So you go into, thieves, or those that was of the poor that will come and glean the fields that was left over. They would even still leave some. Okay, or thieves, when they will come, they will steal till they had enough, and they will just leave. Okay, but the Lord saying He gonna do Esau, He gonna strip him down to nothing. Okay, He's taken away, all right, his his ability to hide himself. Okay, He's taken away his ability to be secretive, to be in the shadows. He's bringing them to the forefront, and then He's gonna begin to script this man of wisdom. He's gonna script this man of all this power and authority. He's gonna strip Esau down to nothing. He's not gonna leave Esau with anything, man. Okay, and this is what we're seeing happening. The Spirit of the Lord is at work, and He has His prophets, all right, here to, all right, commentate what's going on. Okay, verse 10 says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So this nigga is not able to hide himself, man. The Lord is making this man bare. He can't go back into the shadows. He's out there now. Okay, now he's scrambling to try to control the narrative. Okay, he's scrambling to push fear to get people to buy in, to this new system. He's scrambling trying to pull these things off. Okay, so this man's exposure, okay, always leads into, him being taken down, him being visited with judgment, him being the spoil, which is going to captivity. Okay? So the scriptures go over and over again until how this man will be revealed, okay, then judged. You see? Well, you go here. Let's get this in the book of let's see. It might be 20, it might be 51. Let me see. Oh, it's in Jeremiah. Might be 50. I might passed over. Um, yeah, here you go. Jeremiah 50 and 21 says, "Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Akkad, waste and utterly destroy after them, said the Lord, do according to all that I have commanded thee." Okay, so the Lord has commanded a destruction, okay, for America, man. Okay, the destruction is in progress. And when you go into this word, Marathon, okay, when you go into in the Hebrew, okay, it's Marathayim, Marathayim, okay, and it goes into what? A double rebellion, another name for Babylon, which is America, okay. So the Lord has commanded a destruction for this double rebellion over here in America, and it's beginning by putting a cruel Lord over you Americans, man. All right, to put pure hell, all right, on the people to destabilize this place. You see, and ultimately just soften this place up for the Lord's judgment. Okay, which is gonna be those missiles, man. And you go into the word quad, all right, in the Hebrew, okay, is pakwad, all right, pakwad in the Hebrew, it goes into what? A visitation. So the Lord's getting ready to visit this double rebellion led by Esau, Edom, all right, the seed of the wicked. Okay, they're leading this double rebellion in the earth. Okay, the most rebellious culture in the earth because the technology allows people to be way more rebellious than before. You see, now he's able to reach millions and billions of people at a time by connecting everybody to a web. Okay, he's able to to do surgeries and really go into his wickedness, man. Okay, like no other nation has been able to do, and he's influenced the world in the double rebellion, man. And that's why we're seeing the Lord getting ready to visit. Okay, and over here in America, it's going to be the worst. Okay, they're going to get the worst end of this visitation of the Lord. Okay, that's why all those nukes are coming to America, man. It's the Lord visiting this place, man. Okay, let's go here. Um, because I got a few videos I want to get into. See what we get. But let's go here real quick to Second Thessalonians, and then segue to this video dealing with with ice, man. Okay, and show you. Let me see. This is all the book of Second Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 7, and it says, um, okay, this Second Thessalonians 2, and I started at 3. Said, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come." And that's the second coming of Yahushua, except there come a falling away first. So we still had to fall away as a people, okay? Which began with us at 70 AD, and then we had a little remnant of who we were as a people as we was in the interiors, in the west coast of Africa, mainly. Okay, because there was a lot of history that happened between then. Jake had became, Islam, the Moors. Okay, Jake had got into the witchcraft with Ham. We got a lot of Levites into them Haitians. Okay, he got into the witchcraft, them and Benjamin. You see, so by the time the transatlantic slave trade, we was already falling away. All right, and that was a, that began us fully falling away. Okay, as our culture was beaten out of us, man. Okay, Gad was conquered. The northern tribes were conquered by these Edomites. Okay, and that put this and that solidified us fully falling away. But that had to happen so we could be awakened again in these times, right before the coming of Yahweh. Okay, it says, and that a man of sin, it said, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And this is the statement he's trying to make with this technology, man. With this new world order, he wants to sit in the office of the Most High. Okay, he wants to be omnipresent everywhere at the same time, omnipotent. Okay, all powerful through this technology. Okay, he wants to be in the office of the Most High, and he thinks that through this technology, he's on to something, man. And he's showing himself through this technology that he the Most High. He can be the Most High. You know, verse 5, it says, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withhold it, that he might be revealed in his time." Okay, so it was always a thing of timing when the Lord will begin to reveal this, man. Okay, and this is what we're seeing now. This man is revealed like never before. He's been called out like never before. Okay, the small hats are, they're constantly being criticized. All right, Amalek, which that's the head of Esau Edom, constantly being criticized. Okay, to where they want to control the narrative, and now we're seeing destabilization tactics. All right, to destabilize, okay, the West, okay, to cause chaos and unrest so they can bring a solution. Okay, and the solution is him playing the Most High with his technology, man. You see, it said, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, because the Roman Empire was in power during the time of these epistles." Okay, Edom, Rome. Okay, so Edom was ruling as the Romans during the time of these epistles. So the mystery of iniquity is already at work. And only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And we're coming to the time when this devil being taken out of the way. You see, the Lord has gave this man free range, okay, to operate and prosper in wickedness throughout the earth. But now we're coming to a point where the devil is being met with resistance. Okay, and now we're going to see this man become more carnal, okay, and more militant towards, all right, the masses, man. Okay. And when you read verse 8, it says, "And then shall the wicked be revealed," and he's fully revealed. The so-called white man that runs the earth, okay, they are the wicked. They are the biblical Edomites, okay, and they're headed by the chief, okay, tribe of Edom, which is Amalek, okay, the most wicked of them all, okay. It says, "Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the prophets." And this is why he wants to lock down, okay, on the flow of information, okay, because if this word is going forth, he's being consumed. All right, the way the devil is moving and scrambling, it lets us know that he's being consumed. He's trying to pull this thing off, man. He's in panic mode. Okay, it's like he don't know where to start. You see, it says, "It shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." It always leads to this man being destroyed. Every time the scripture speaks about his exposure, it speaks about his destruction as well. Okay, so this is what we're in the midst of. All right, this is what we're watching play out real time. All right, so let's go here. I want to play this. So now dealing with the whole ICE, they're saying that there's IDF, okay, agents, which is Israeli Defense Force, that are embedded with ICE, man. Okay, so let's play a little bit of this, because these small hats, okay, you can tell they're the ones that's most frustrated about this exposure, man. Okay, and these are the most violent of these Edomites. These are the most lewd and the most violent of these Edomites is Amalek, man. Okay, so let's play this.
Well, throughout those 2,000 ICE agents, specifically 121 of them, right, had experience as an ex-IDF soldier, if you will.
You know, we've said this on the show. Whatever we do to people overseas, we're going to eventually do to our own people.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that as the police now look like they're in a war zone. Every time they go out, they look like they're going door to door in Fallujah. They look like they're in Afghanistan fighting the Taliban, but they're actually supposed to be serving American citizens. And they now, especially ICE, when they're driving around in unmarked cars with masks on, because, you know, that's the guys on the right side of history always do that. Well, here, APAC Tracker tweets out this video by Prem Thacker. And why does ICE look more and more like the Israeli military lately? Why does ICE?
Well, I've been saying that they look like the Israeli military, the way they're handling things.
Yes.
A lot of shooting of American citizens, you know?
ICE is, so let's, this guy, Prem Thacker, he has an idea why. Let's listen.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam.
Why is the US and ICE behaving so much like Israel and its military? As Trump's masked agents terrorize neighborhoods all across the US, it's hard not to see the parallels. The violence, the in-your-face lies, the slandering of their victims, and the self-victimization of themselves. Take the murder of Renee Nicole Good. The administration is demanding that you believe something that's completely different from what you can see with your own two eyes. They accuse her of
terrorism
and say that she
weaponized her vehicle
and that she was stalking agents who then feared for their lives. ICE is behaving how Israel does every time they kill a Palestinian child,
Exactly.
doctor, journalist, or parent. We describe it simply. Every accusation is a confession. Everything ICE has done before and after killing Renee Good make the parallels almost too hard to ignore. For one, both the Israeli army and ICE are unimaginably violent, often unprovoked. Both have an act for ramming people's cars or pulling people out of them, brutally arresting and assaulting common people as if they're dangerous threats, and blocking doctors or ambulances from reaching their victims. Both also act as completely unaccountable occupying forces. In Palestine, Israeli soldiers oversee a vicious apartheid system. In the US, masked agents demand people's papers, beat up kids at Target, and march around towns as if they're scoping out another country for the US to attack. And then there's the rhetoric. In addition to smearing victims as terrorists, they both build pretexts to justify even more violence, even against kids. Both, after acting in a way that causes any normal person to be outraged, then howl that they're the ones with the right to defend themselves.
That guy acted in self-defense.
The right of self-defense.
Both use propaganda videos to not just lie, but completely reframe reality.
ICE agents and CBP officers that are out on our streets doing God's work live in these communities.
And both are pouring millions into influencing you and keeping the violence coming. And finally, there's the links between US and Israeli agencies, security partnerships and cooperation agreements, synergy and admiration between their border walls, sharing the same weapons and surveillance suppliers. There's even an ICE office in Tel Aviv. It's all so similar for a reason. If the people in power saw how tolerant we were to send our tax dollars to help Israel occupy and carry out a genocide in Palestine, some of those same tactics were bound to come home. Violence we support or even tolerate elsewhere only tarnishes our own soul, and it makes it all the more likely it'll come back to be used against all of us. That's right, including you.
So yeah, he went into those similarities, and it's all intertwined. And what we have to understand, ICE, the IDF was using Palantir software, okay, over there in Hamas, okay, is to track and find, all right, particular people, in the war, that they had with Hamas, okay. So they was, doing trial runs and pilot runs with this, Palantir software, and now ICE has that same software, that they're using in their urban, all right, because it's considered urban warfare. What was done in Gaza was considered urban warfare. Okay, what's happening in America is considered urban warfare. Okay, so you have the IDF deeply embedded into ICE because it's a global agenda. Okay, why? Because they have the experience when it comes to destabilizing and policing. Okay, urban areas. Okay, so you have these IDF agents embedded within ICE, man. Okay, America is being destabilized. That's why you have foreign militaries involved, okay, with ICE. And there's no telling what other militaries and mercenaries that they're constantly pushing out through ICE, man, to destabilize America, man. America is being destabilized. It's being turned into a military zone, a police state. Okay, it's going to gradually go into a full-blown martial law. Okay, so let's play a little more of this.
So guess what? It does. Their tactics are almost exactly like the IDF does when they're slaughtering Palestinians and when they have to kill kids. It's exactly the same, just what he said. He just spelled it out for you. I don't have to repeat it. But Project Constitution, they get this. They, according to Project Constitution, 121 former IDF soldiers are now working as ICE agents in Chicago.
Yay!
We just uncovered that DHS is straight up contracting former IDF soldiers as ICE agents and bounty hunters right here in the U.S. soil. Public records leaked show over 120 ex-IDF operatives are embedded in ICE Chicago's office alone. Just 2,000 agents reviewed. That's out of just 2,000 agents they reviewed. They found 120 IDF guys. Their last names all traced back to Israel. No other job history, faces hidden. Yeah, because exposure would blow the lid off. And get this, Israel has even its own ICE office in Tel Aviv, as he just told you in that video. That's not partnership. That's a foreign military running deportation ops on our streets, training mass goons to storm homes like it's Gaza checkpoints. This is the smoking gun. We're not a sovereign nation anymore. We're occupied territory, folks. Contracts prove it. Our government isn't handing the keys to Tel Aviv. Our government is handing the keys to Tel Aviv. Insane? You bet. Treasonous? Absolutely. So here, guess what? I have a video to show you that kind of backs this up. Let's listen.
And we just found out that a lot of ICE agents are actually IDF soldiers.
This is crazy as fuck. I need everybody to save this video just in case it gets taken down again. I just did a video about 30 minutes ago. I've been trying to get it appealed. The appeal did not get approved. Anyways, I presented some identities, okay, of certain ICE agents located specifically in Chicago. A group that I associate myself with went through public records and found over 2,000 ICE agents, right? Well, throughout those 2,000 ICE agents, specifically 121 of them, right, had experience as an ex-IDF soldier. If you went up and down this entire list of individuals, you'd notice that their last names in particular, right, all lead back to one specific location with no other job experience. And maybe it won't let me post it because it's personal information. I have no idea. But there's literally a whole motherfucking list of these people, and they all look the same. Which tells me exactly why they're choosing to hide their faces, because just imagine, right, if some information like that were to get out, which is why I'm making this video once again. I'm just saying, if you look into the background of these specific individuals, you might notice that they're not exactly a U.S. citizen. That in itself would prove everything, especially why they're acting the way that they are.
There it is. There's the office in Tel Aviv. ICE considering paying private bounty hunters to track immigrants. Immigration and Custom Enforcement is reportedly exploring a plan to contract private bounty hunters. No kidding.
Nice.
Here's another one. The document reportedly describes giving contractors dockets of 10,000 people at a time with additional assignments to increase to 10,000 up to 1 million. Earlier this year, a group of military contractors, including former Blackwater CEO and Trump ally Eric Prince, reportedly circulated a plan advocating for private initiatives to track immigrants.
These are mercenaries. Okay, they're telling you openly that they finna start hiring mercenaries, man. Okay, private militant, okay, contractors, man. Okay, that they're gonna give them federal, okay, law enforcement authority and jurisdiction. Okay, so expect to see, the streets of America to become more and more like an occupied territory. Okay, like an invading military is occupying, all right, American cities, man. Okay, so he said from 10,000, in increments of 10,000 up to 1,000,000. Okay, so prepare for more and more troops to be sprinkled into, and they are already here. Okay, all the migrants that came across the border, they're already here. Okay, it's not like they going and scrambling just finding people. Now they are just throwing people. They are just, recruiting heavy for ICE, because they know most of them people gonna be cannon fodder for when people finally rebel and retaliate. Okay, but these mercenaries that they're talking about, contracting out, they're already here. Okay, and they just gonna start sprinkling them into, okay, these ICE raids. Okay, they're going to gradually, incorporate these mercenaries into these ICE raids until you have millions of mercenaries, okay, policing American streets. Okay, America's going to run like an occupied foreign territory, man. Okay, this is what these devils are on. You see? So let's play this some more.
When it came time to take things to the next level, I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix.
Well, let me just show you this. This just to let you know how bad it's gotten. ICE agent in Portland, Maine, tells legal in Portland, Maine. Portland, Maine. Have you ever been to Portland, Maine? Have you ever been to Maine?
Yeah.
It's mostly nothing.
Yeah.
Maine tells legal observers, this ICE agent in Portland, Maine, tells legal observers she is a domestic terrorist for peacefully recording him, and adds her to a nice little database. They are literally labeling law-abiding citizens terrorists now. I told you this was coming.
Yeah, that's awfully Israeli of him. Why is it? I would be wearing a mask too.
This is exactly what the IDF has done to Palestinians for decades, call them terrorists just for existing. So let's listen.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
He said we have a nice little database. You see, they got these phones and this Palantir software, and once they take your picture, you're added to a database. And they're just going up, through these cities, and these people that's coming out to protest, they all going in databases, man. Okay. He said, look, we got a nice little database. Okay, now watch what he calls her. Okay. as he says that she's added to a database.
Word.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
We're videotaping you? Are you crazy?
So you're for practicing your constitutional right, you are now considered a terrorist by these ICE guys. Just to let you know. So again, it used to be called the Statue of Liberty. Now it's called the Statue of Previously Available Liberties. Give us your poor, you're manipulated and criminally insane. Give us your mercenaries, eager to be free of consequences or conscience.
I mean, in fairness, that statue came from the dirty French.
It did.
It reminds me of Pete Buttigieg. Remember him putting me on a date? A reporter asked him questions, and he wanted to have a record.
That's right. So here's an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Well, listen to what he tells this American citizen.
This, brother.
What?
I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Now the funny part.
Oh boy. And see, some of this, could be authentic, some of these people, coming up and filming these agents, but that's not wise anyway. Okay, that's not wise. And it's promoting people to be foolish and be reckless. Okay, dealing with these agents who have the green light to unalive you, man. Okay, and they know this, and that's why you hear this language. If you raise your voice, I will erase your voice. You see? So these agents have been given this green light, okay, from up high to do what they want. Okay, they have full immunity, okay, to consequence when they're out there amongst these civilians. And because what they're doing, they're creating destabilization. All right. Now when you go into let's go here. Let's go to so this real quick. So I said, what tactics are used in destabilization? It says destabilization tactics are designed to weaken, disorient, or overthrow an entity, ranging from individuals to governments, by eroding control, trust, and order. Common methods include disinformation campaigns, cyber attacks, economic sabotage, and that's why the economy has been trashed. It's part of destabilization. Okay, to destroy resources. You're under the American public is under a siege. Okay, they're being priced out of everything. This is a economic siege. The economy is being sabotaged to be trashed on purpose. Job markets, okay, are shrinking. Okay, these things are being done on purpose. It's creating uncertainty. Okay, remember they operate on the FUD, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, all this goes into destabilization. It says political maneuver and psychological warfare. Okay, all these things are happening to destabilize you, man. Okay, to destabilize the masses, to break them down. It said these actions aim to create chaos, foster division, and undermine the legitimacy of authorities, man. Okay, these actions often aim to create chaos, okay, foster division, and undermine the legitimacy of authorities, man. Okay, so this is why there's an intense rivalry between the left and the right. Okay, this is the stabilization tactic. Okay, that's why you have even these American citizens being armed against other Americans, man. Okay, there's deep division. Okay, and it's going to lead into chaos. Okay, they want to push this into chaos. That's a part of the destabilization is chaos, man. Okay, will justify them bringing in, all right, stability with force. Okay, and this is what they do globally. They destabilize the government. They sabotage the economy. Okay, the civilians, go into, uproar. Okay, they turn those protests violent. All right, and those violent protests, okay, become chaotic. And then what do? They turn the camera on at the chaos and say, "Look, we need to go stabilize this situation." Okay, and they go play the hero. Okay, so that same tactic is being done right here in America, man. The economy is going to get much worse. Okay, you're going to see federal law enforcement get more, okay, brutal and violent towards American citizens. Okay, and then it's going to be chaos, man. Okay, and when people really, all right, begin to fight back against these federal law enforcement, man, he's going to bring another wave of enforcement that's already on deck, ready to go. Okay, that's why he's doing so much agitation. That's why he's using these officers to instigate. ICE is being used to instigate, man. Okay, so let's go from there. I want to get this video because we seen, we heard about, small hats, buying TikTok. Okay, so let's go into a little bit of that. All right, because information plays a major part when you want to destabilize a society. Okay, control of the information is crucial. Okay, so we're going to see more of a crackdown with the free flow of information. You know, so let's go here, and we have to understand all these um, platforms and social media is all on, it's all American government spy technology. Okay, America and China not arguing over TikTok. Okay, America is not want to put a ban on TikTok. No, all that data that flows freely through TikTok, people call themselves exposing the government. They need that data. They need to know who exactly thinks like what. Okay, they're putting people in categories, man. They need to see how these people think. They need to put them on databases based on what they think and believe. And TikTok has been a very helpful platform, okay, for these government databases, man. Okay, but they make it seem as if they're just threatened by TikTok. Nah, man, TikTok is nothing but a data gathering, all right, platform. All these social media platforms where people freely go tell all their business and their mind and go on these rants and got these different communities. You're doing the work for them. These different communities that you got. Okay, so if you in this, this alternative news community, well, you're in the database. You just categorize yourself, okay, for the devil's databases, man. So when he roll, he know exactly how to deal with certain people, okay, with the blue list, yellow list, the red list, okay, and the red list is for extermination. But how is he going to come up with these lists? Through data gathering, okay. This is nothing but military technology for gathering data, intel, okay. All social media, man, okay. Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok is all military data gathering, okay, technology, man, and software. Okay, so let's play this.
Let's keep it moving and grooving. I have a good news story coming in. Bam, bam, bam. So, if you are not aware, TikTok has officially been sold to Larry Ellison. And after that takeover, there was immense censorship on TikTok, even to the point where people were getting 0 views. TikTokers that have been booming, all of a sudden their videos weren't shown to anyone. Now, one of the changes, of course, was pro-Israel. I want to bring this in here so you can see this is the new CEO of TikTok, and I want you to hear what he said about the new takeover.
Watch TikTok's new CEO admit they changed TikTok to punish Americans for criticizing Zionism and Israel.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist. But if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech.
So I'm a little bit confused because either you're calling yourself a Zionist, but you don't want other people to call you a Zionist, or they can't call you a Zionist in a negative way. Again, what happened to free speech? So I'm just confused. This is confusing to me.
There's no more wisdom in teaming. And you hear Esau talk, these devils ain't got it, man. You just hear they just sound so, just mediocre as hell, man. Okay, and these guys be CEOs making $100 million a year. Okay, and they be so basic and mediocre, man. But here it is. All right, he's saying, look, you can be a proud Zionist, Zionists. You know, you can speak good about Zionists. And they call themselves Zionists. This is a name that they, all right, came up with, because Zionists, their core belief is that Israel has the right to exist as a state. You know, that's their main thing with Zionism, being a Zionist. All right, is that you're pro the small hats existing as a state. But see, what these devils have done under the banner of Zionism is complete wickedness, man, genocide. Okay? I absolutely slaughter, okay, of women and children. Civilians, women, and children, man. Okay? Apartheid, you know, just terrorizing, you know, the locals, terrorizing their whole region under the banner of Zionism. So now, if you say Zionist is hate speech, but they can call themselves Zionists. Okay? The devil is all over the place, man. Okay? And he lost control of the narrative. This devil scrambling, trying to get the narrative back, man. You see, just as we read, he should not be able to hide himself, man. So let's play this some more.
But here we are. Make up your mind.
To be moderated against. We tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends.
Why do you think Zionists work hard to suppress Americans' free speech?
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all,
and ladies and gents, that is the new TikTok. So many of us have left TikTok. I deactivated my account. I removed the TikTok app off my phone, and I'm going to show you why that's important as well. It's not just the censorship, it's the new tracking and the new terms of agreement that you had to agree to that is causing other people to flee as well. But there's a rainbow at the end of this story. Now, Bernie Sanders is calling this out as well. He said, thanks to Trump, right-wing multi-billionaire Larry Ellison will now control the TikTok algorithm along with CBS, MTV, the Free Press, BET, CMT, Simon & Schuster, Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, and more. This is what oligarchy looks like. So, first of all, BET should be ashamed, huh?
Ashamed of what? Okay. BET has been, all right, a major tool used to degenerate Jake way before this. Okay. BET lost integrity a long time ago. Okay. What the hell you expect from BET? All they do is play Baby Boy all goddamn day. Okay? I ain't probably watched BET in a decade. Okay? Well, all they do is play Baby Boy all goddamn day. So what the hell you expect from BET? Okay? But all these devils, okay, own all these corporations that own all the media and entertainment. Okay? And what we're seeing is they're getting aggressive with any speech that's against their wickedness and what they're doing. Okay? So let's play this some more.
BET should be ashamed, but they're there. So everybody just pay attention to that. If you're watching these channels and all of a sudden it seems a little bit different. But Bernie leaves something out that journalist Ken Klippenstein did mention. Congress also played a role by forcing its sale in the first place. Yeah. And I remember under the Biden administration, I was complaining about that. Many were saying, like, what the hell are you doing? Don't sell TikTok, like, leave it alone. TikTok was fine the way that it was. Once the US decided to come in and say, well, we're going to own TikTok, everything went downhill. But everybody remember that? And then Donald Trump came in right before he started his presidency and said, I'm going to bring TikTok back. And then he looked like the hero and people were pointing fingers at the Democrats and all that type of stuff. This was bipartisan. So you had Congress that went along with it. Now, here's the big plus. TikTok users are deleting the app with removals up 150% following the US joint venture. And that's not an exaggeration. I'll tell you where we're all going. TikTok users have been deleting the app at a higher rate since the company announced that its US operations would be housed in a new joint venture. I'm going to reword this. They've been leaving at a higher rate since the company announced that it was now owned by Larry Ellison, and he increased censorship and tracking information. The daily average of US users deleting the TikTok app has increased nearly 150% over the past 5 days compared to the previous 3 months. That is according to market intelligence firm Sensor Tower. Some users took to social media to voice their skepticism about the new joint venture after being prompted to agree to an updated privacy policy. Yeah, and it was not good. It goes on to say here, several social media posts pointed to language in the new policy that describes the type of data TikTok may collect, including sensitive information such as your racial and ethnic origin, your sexual life or sexual orientation, status as transgender, non-binary, citizenship or immigration status, or financial information. Now, why does an app that became pretty popular because people were doing dance moves on there, why do they need that information?
Because it's a database. All right. They're just using it as a database, and they're categorizing, okay, people in the database, man. Because there's some people that no matter what, they're going to stay with TikTok. They're going to comply with this. And they know that a lot of people is going to leave. And guess what? They had a plan for that, because now that people are leaving TikTok, it's another social media that just pops up conveniently right on time. And then the storyline behind this new platform called Upscroll, we're going to get into their storyline showing you that this is the devil at work. Okay, he just hurting people, because now with this Upscroll, okay, which they're going to get into it, and we're going to expound on it. We're going to show you the so-called founder of Upscroll. Okay, but they knew a lot of people want to leave, but they're just herding you to another platform, okay, to gather you on a certain database. Because now they know, okay, these people that left, they kind of know what we got going on. And then now they're seeing people flocking to this new social media, which is all military, okay, software, man. It's all U.S. military software, man. So let's play this.
Are showing you can't mention that guy.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
I thought Nico said something here that was pretty funny about them censoring this word Zionist. Listen to this.
Okay, so I'm confused. I thought Zionists were proud to be Zionists. So if you don't feel guilty for the label that you are calling yourself, why would you then designate that word as hate speech? I mean, literally all over social media, y'all, these people refer to themselves as proud Zionists. And according to you all, it just means that Israel has a right to exist, right? So are you proud to be a Zionist? And do you want people to refer to you as a Zionist? Or is calling you a Zionist a form of hate speech and you're offended by it? Because it can't be both, my guy. You see this right here, TikTok? This is why everybody moving to Upscroll. We all knew this was coming whenever that Zionist billionaire bought this shit. We knew it was coming. Y'all can't even get your story straight. Y'all don't even know if y'all like being called Zionists or not. We don't know what to post anymore. So we just gonna leave. How about that? But y'all still Zionists, though. I don't care if you call it hate speech. Y'all still Zionists.
Yeah, it does not make any sense. It's like you don't want to be called a Zionist. You do want to be called a Zionist. I'm just really confused here.
So he spoke about this new platform, that they're moving to called Upscroll. So just real quick to show you the founder, so-called founder of Upscroll, which is nothing. This is nothing but CIA, data gathering. Okay, so let's go here real quick. Hold on. And just like they use Twitter, to gather, they changed it to X. They said it was supposed to be for free speech. Okay. Well, they're doing the same thing with Upscroll. Okay. Now, with X, what do you see on X is a bunch of white Edomite nationalists. It's a community of them. You know, so they can go over there and be, these Edomite white nationalists, white Christian nationalists. It's a big hub of them over there in the X community. Okay. Then what you had on Rumble when they were censoring hard on YouTube, people went to Rumble, which that's mainstream. Okay. But they present these things as if it's an independent, alternative, platform. So now all the alternative news people went to Rumble. Okay, now they on the database. Now they got all the alternative news people and everyone that follows them on the database, categorized. Okay, all these people on X, these Edomite white nationalists, they categorize. Okay, now these influencers on TikTok that's anti-Zionist, anti-small hat, and now they're being herded into Upscroll. And he just putting you on these different databases, man. Okay, and what ICE is doing is putting boots on the ground and is learning what different people are. Okay, ICE is just the boots on the ground that's training this AI and what people and where people are at real time. Okay, his devil booting up for his move. Now let's go here. So this is supposed to be the guy behind Upscroll. All right, and how convenient. Okay, it said Upscroll just crossed 1 million users, and its founder Issam Ajazi. So all the people that are they're speaking out against the small hats on TikTok. All of a sudden, you have this new social media platform called Upscroll, and it's owned by a Palestinian. Okay, who supposedly lost 60 to 50 million family, 50 to 60 people during the bombing in Gaza. Okay, so let's listen to this spiel of this guy.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of this community and for making Upscrolled what it is. It is absolutely my honor to share with you that we've just hit over 1 million users. I wanted to first take a moment to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is simply incredible. Our community is growing at a pace I only could have dreamt of. Which, talking of dreams, as you can imagine, I haven't had much sleep over the last 72 hours. I do understand there's a lot of curiosity about who I am and why I created this app, so I just wanted to make this video for that. My name is Isam. I was born in Jordan, but my family is originally from Palestine, from a city called Safad. My grandparents were forced to flee their home back in 1948, just like many Palestinians, and they settled in Amman, where I was born. I've since lived across the globe and eventually ended up in Australia, where I also became an Australian citizen. Since the end of 2023, things have completely changed for me and for my family. I lost so many family members in Gaza, and I watched firsthand as meaningful stories disappeared from feeds, while harmful misinformation thrived, propelling and manufacturing consent for the genocide. And I knew I couldn't stand idly by. So I, like many others in the community, left big tech and back in November 2023 began working on this alternative platform, Upscrolled. People told me I was crazy. I mean, you're trying to compete with big tech. Hell, I thought I was too. But this wasn't about competing for me. It was about building something for the people, a platform where every voice is free and equal. I created Upscroll for all of us, for those who are tired of being shadow banned, for people who don't want their personal data to be shared or sold without their consent, for users who don't want to be surveilled by corporations who say one thing publicly and do another thing privately. We launched last year in June. We grew steadily through word of mouth as more and more people moved to our platform, in rejection of big tech's practices. And as of last week, with everything that's happening on TikTok, we grew way more than I have ever imagined. We went.
And they already knew this, man. All right, he's nothing but an agent, okay, set up, all right, to herd anti-small hat content creators into another platform. So now they know, okay, you left TikTok, okay, which they say it surged from 150,000 to 1 million users in just days, okay, without paid ads or influencers. Okay, so it started off as something that's authentic and for the people, and then after a while, it's going to be like another TikTok. It's just going to be this foundation is going to be based on so-called free speech and speaking out against the small hats and speaking out against this and against that. Okay, so it tracks everyone who has that same sentiment, that same belief. Okay, and it's just all being put on the database. Okay, and you think they let a Palestinian, okay, come on, man. Okay, you think they just let a Palestinian just pop up out of nowhere? Okay, and they say he's an ex-engineer at uh, uh, what they say about this nigga? Uh, I think they say he was an ex-engineer at IBM. Okay, seen what was going on in Palestine and just walked off, and now he has a platform with 1 million subscribers. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get this in Isaiah. But this is what these devils is on because this is a part of destabilization. Matter of fact, it's more than destabilization because information is a big part of destabilizing a society. It says key tactics of destabilization. It says information warfare or disinformation, spreading fake news, propaganda, okay, and false narratives through media and social media to manipulate public opinion and create doubt. Okay, so misinformation, disinformation, okay, is a major part of destabilization. Okay, so prepare for more censorship because these devils are losing the information war. Okay, he's been called out. Everything that he's putting out is being scrutinized. This nigga's being critiqued. There's a community that's critiquing this nigga, man. And it began with the spirit of the prophets, man. The scriptures say there will be a great inquisition, okay, on the devil at the end. I believe that's in a brother want to post it. I believe that's in Sirach 6. And I think it might be second Ezra 6, like 24, 25 in there. And my brother want to post it. Okay, but it speaks about how there will be a great inquisition. against this nigga, man. Okay, to where he will be heavily scrutinized. Everything that he puts out is now being, scrutinized with a fine comb. Okay. Uh, yeah, it's Second Ezra 6:19. Brother want to post it, But let's read some more of this. It says psychological operations, all right, used historically to disrupt the mental health and social lives of targets through harassment, stalking, and creating confusion, man. And this is all we're seeing. Psychological operation used historically to disrupt the mental health, okay? That constant anxiety and uncertainty. There's always a threat of a government shutdown, a cyber attack, a shortage in this, and tariffs in this business is going out. Businesses are downsizing. Okay, so it's just a constant harassment on the thoughts of the people. Okay, ICE just has, the liberty to unalive you. Okay, and at their discretion. You see, economic sabotage, targeting the nation's economy. Okay, and the American government is intentionally targeting the economy of America. People are being priced out of everything. Okay, housing is unaffordable. Okay, housing has become, the basic necessities. Okay, of life are becoming unaffordable, man. This is intentional. Okay, this is part of destabilization, such as disrupting critical infrastructure or exploding dependence on single commodities to provoke, okay, a crisis, man. And you see how quick things can go into a crisis if they shut down government assistance, man. If they really shut that down and left it down, it would be crisis. Because they created, over the decade, they created so much dependence on it. Okay, to where it's just an on and off switch. You see, it said fostering eternal division, promoting corruption, and engineering political crisis to force an abrupt regime change. Okay, and see they push so much uh, division and corruption within politics. Okay, that they made Trump. The people was open to Trump coming in and being a dictator. Okay, in the hopes of getting things back right. Okay, Trump told you that he would be a dictator when he came back in, and people said, "Well, we need that. We need to clean some things up." Okay, and it goes all into the psychological warfare that broke down the minds of the people to accept, okay, authoritarianism, man. Okay, so let's go here to Isaiah. I'm gonna get this, and then I'm gonna get this in the book of Isaiah. I believe it's 32. So yeah, let's get this. The brother posted dealing with Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 19. All right, so this is the book of Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 19. It says, "And we begin to make inquisition of them, all right, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled." Okay, and it was posted by the brother Anah, GMS all in 144. Okay, and the scriptures say that there will be an inquisition made, okay, of them who have hurt unjustly, man. And this is speaking of the devil, Esau, Edom. Okay, and the Inquisition goes into intense questioning, intense scrutiny, man. Okay, so now what the devil, is doing, he's being questioned about everything. Okay, people are calling him out on everything, man. So now what he's doing, he just creating these so-called alternative platforms, and he's beginning to put heavy censorship on certain platforms to see who move where. Okay, just so you can be categorized. Okay, because you're gonna have simpletons. They just gonna stay on TikTok. They're gonna agree with with everything. They're gonna comply. Just so they can keep doom scroll. Okay, and then you're gonna have those that have been calling this devil out. They're gonna hurry to these other platforms, man. But at the end of the day, there's an inquisition being made against this devil, man, and it's causing him to move. Okay, um, and it's causing him to be wearied in his counsel, as the scriptures say. Okay, he's becoming, let's say, tacky in his execution. Okay, and eventually just gonna go to their sword, man. It says, "What they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion might be fulfilled." Now, the affliction of Zion is speaking of the elect at this time. Okay, because we're at the end of our affliction, man. You see, so that's why the Lord has the devil being called out. Okay, because him being exposed ties directly into him being overthrown. Okay, yep. So eventually, as a brother God, feel his loyalty to Yahushua. It says, "Behold," this is Amos 8 and 11. It says, "Behold, the days come," said the Lord power, "that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord." Okay, because eventually, they're going to censor it to the point to where we're not going to be able to teach. Okay, and that's ultimately what the Lord wants. Okay, so every day that this word is going forth, it's accomplishing, what the Heavenly Father wants. But then it's gonna come a time when the Lord gonna draw it back, and then He's just gonna open up in judgment, man. Okay, so when you go to Isaiah 32 and and 5, this in NLT, it says, "In that day, ungodly fools will not be heroes, scoundrels will not be respected." Okay, and you have Amalek, which you go into these Amalekites. Okay, these are the banking families. These are the elite. All right, these tech, CEOs and all the high positions, chief positions in the planet Earth. Okay, is these small hats, man. Amalek of the tribe of Esau. Okay, and for the longest he's been looked at as a hero. Okay, but now he's being called out. He's not being respected as he once was. Okay, these platforms are calling this devil out. And it began with the prophets that began the spirit of exposing the devil, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Now, verse 6 says, For fools speak foolishly and make evil plans. Because this nigga is plotting. He's scheming. Okay, he's training his AI. He's creating these databases. He's building data centers. And on his mind, he's pushing for confusion and chaos. Okay, he wants to destabilize, you know, these different societies and governments. Okay, so this man has nothing but foolish, evil plans in the making. Okay, it said they practice ungodliness and spread false teachings about the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai. Because the reason why people think, all right, the Most High is something to be played with is because of Esau. The reason people think, the reason people are confused on the Bible is because of this devil. Okay, because that's why he pushes Christianity to the forefront, because he knows Christianity is nothing but a teaching of lies, man. It's a false teaching. Okay, and that's why everyone is making mockery, okay, of the Christian doctrine, because it doesn't line up with the scriptures. Okay, but even those, atheists and people that critique the Bible, they don't know what's going on either. They think it's a joke. Okay? But it all stems from Esau, Edom, and his rulership. Okay? And it says, they practice godliness and spread false teachings about the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. They deprive the hungry of food and give no water to the thirsty, man. And this is a system, that because in the spirit, you go into food, and thirst and water, it's going into the scriptures. Okay. And in this system, the devil, will never give the true people the true understanding of the Bible. Okay. He would never do that in his system. Okay. And then on the corner side, the devil runs a system to where he creates poverty. Okay. This nigga creates generational poverty, but then blames the poor for everything. Okay. Takes advantage of the poor in every way. Okay. And his system keeps the poor for generations, man. You see? So this devil, he's wicked through and through on the spiritual level, on the carnal level. He's wicked through and through, man. It says the smooth tricks of scoundrels are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor. Okay. And this whole hate speech, the whole purpose of this hate speech is to target the prophets, man. Other people are going to be swept up in it. But we know his scheme and his agenda, okay, is aimed at the prophets, okay, to where they can just make, all these accusations and charges, and okay, so now they got to criminalize speech, okay, because we're not breaking, any laws that he can punish us for, okay, so he has to create laws that we can be punished by, that we can be convicted by, man. Okay, he said they lie to convict the poor, and when the cause of the it said even when the cause of the poor is just, man. Okay, and we're that poor that have a just cause. Okay, we have a just gripe against this devil. Okay, and what he's doing and planning on doing in the earth, man. Okay, so if he's trying to censor and muzzle the prophets, well, the cry has already went out. When you go to Isaiah 19, and let's see. And we're in there. Let's get Isaiah 19. Okay, because the cry has already went forth. Okay, so him trying to censor the prophets, that's not the solution. Him trying to censor, okay, any speech against his wickedness. Well, it's already set in motion, man. Your collapse is already set in motion. Okay, no matter how much censorship and how much craftiness you do with these different platforms and this and that, it's already in motion. Okay, the collapse and the fall and the overthrow of Esau is already in motion. And our deliverance is on the way. The cry has already been heard. Isaiah 19 and 19. In that day there will be an altar to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shai in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay? And that's these camps, man. All right, that the Lord has raised up. And our bodies are what? They're living sacrifice that's acceptable to our power. Week in and week out. Okay? That's a sacrifice that's being accepted on the spiritual altar. Okay, which are these camps. And it says, and it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt, for they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. So the cry has already went out. The cry has already made it to the heavens, to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. So censoring the word or trying to prevent or muzzle the prophets, well, that's not a solution. Okay, you still gonna have to deal with that savior, which is Yahweh Shai, that's going to be sent back. Okay, so yeah, we'll end it there. Lord, let me see. Yeah, Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you sisters was edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples of his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect. Shalom.